Welcome back to the channel, everyone. So as we all know, the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip, is really taking the world by storm. And at the same time, Samsung did a really smart thing by slowly releasing it. They have a huge amount of quantity, but they were just kind of slowly putting it out to the masses, so it looks like it's sold out all the time, but it really isn't. And I think folding phones are very important, okay? I think for what they're going to do in the future, and even now, I think, it's a really cool thing. And I'm not hating on the Z Flip, and I'm not hating on foldable phones overall. I'm just really hating on the Z Flip, like I said. But I think the costs of the phone don't really make sense, and I don't think they really justify the phone itself, okay? Like, I understand that parts cost more, and if you're buying a phone like this, you're buying into that type of technology. And I'm not debating the importance of the technology by any means. I'm saying, I think this is a very important thing. But I just think for the price that you're paying for it, it is actually it's like the typical way of wasting money. I think if you don't really care about the folding design, there's so many other phones out in the market that can do you so much better for so much little money, if I'm being honest. Now, as I've stated before and as I've seen, it's almost the same exact performance as my Samsung Galaxy S10e, which cost me less than $400 now to buy. And that is such a small price to pay for a thing like this. Okay, my S10e, which came out last year, it's really the exact same performance, which was super surprising to me when I tested them both side by side. Even my Galaxy S10, my S10 sometimes was faster, sometimes the Z Flip was faster here and there, but it's really almost the same exact performance. So when you're buying a phone like this, you're not necessarily buying the Galaxy S20 performance, you're buying really the Galaxy S10e performance if you really think about it. Another thing, there's really only one model of this phone, and there's no microSD card slot expansion on this thing, which is crazy. For the first 5 minutes when I bought it, I was looking for the microSD card slot, I couldn't find it, but I actually couldn't find it because there's not one there. And I think it is kind of a big deal when we look at phones and some would say, the Samsung Galaxy Fold didn't have it either, but I do believe it had a higher storage model. At that 256, I'm not really too sure. I'm not a huge fan of it, and I really hope Samsung doesn't go down this route of their folding phones not having microSD card slots, and I'm sure they can find a way to input it in here. They put a foldable battery in this thing, the screen folds, I'm pretty sure they can put a microSD card slot in this thing. You look at phones like the S20 and even the Galaxy S10 series, all those phones have an SD card slot. I'm not too sure why this $1,400 phone doesn't have it. Now, as I've stated before, there's only 2 cameras on this thing, and to be honest, I think it's a decent sensor, but even when compared to the Galaxy S10, which has 3 camera sensors, which is awesome, and it costs way less than the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip, the megapixel count of that ultra-wide sensor is higher on the S10 than it is on the Z Flip, and that's still it's almost going backwards in every single way. I'm not really too sure why Samsung took this approach and why they kind of watered down this specific model. If they didn't, if this phone wasn't a folding phone, it would be a worse phone than a Galaxy S10e, and it should be cheaper than an S10e, which is pretty funny, and it's definitely less than an S20 for sure. So it's crazy that Samsung were to do something like this. And the camera sensors, even if the quality is the same, whatever, you're still lacking out on that telephoto lens that the S10 had. So also the screen is very average on this thing. It doesn't even look that good, if I'm being honest. I think it's okay, and I do understand it's a folding phone and it has plastic over it or whatever the case is now, but I still think, I don't know, at the end of the day, if I'm looking at the phone and if I take away that folding factor, it's a okay panel. It doesn't really wow me in any way. I think it's more so I think even the S10e honestly has a better panel than this one, to be honest, but I guess it's okay. I think it gets the job done if you want it to be, but I think the screen is very, very average for what you're getting for. Also, the battery life is very average. At least the Galaxy Fold had a pretty big battery, I think, and the battery life on that phone was pretty decent. This phone, it really surprises me how much, Samsung really kind of watered down the whole Samsung folding phone lineup to make a phone like this. And I think they could have, spent a little bit more time focusing on that battery aspect. Like I said, the Galaxy Fold had a pretty big battery. This one, more or less the same, isn't really that big, if I'm being honest. And because of that, the battery life really isn't that great. And dude, for $1,400, the biggest thing is the software support. You're buying this phone now, and even if all those other things you don't really care about, the software support is something that a lot of other manufacturers are doing way, way better than Samsung. And I think Samsung should support their phones longer. It makes absolutely no sense for a phone like this that if you're going to spend $1,400 now, that you're going to get the same software support as a phone that costs way less, or any Samsung phones at all, because it just makes no sense why they only support it for 2 or 3 versions. It should support it for multiple years. And that's not even 3 full versions. It's 2 versions after that, so 2 years of support. It's really, really bad. And I think think if Samsung focuses in on that and just kind of fixes some things within this list that I just gave, I think next year or whenever they release the Z Flip 2, I think they could definitely have a hit on their hands. I just think it's a really weird thing and a weird process that they did in order to do that, but I don't think it's an end-all be-all. But I do think at the end of the day, hopefully Samsung can go fix up a couple of these things and make it so we don't waste our money next time around. And I guess that's pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit that like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys can hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel, all those things are linked down below. I'd really appreciate if you guys to check it out. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.